Okay.
Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is Brian. Together we are Just Got Played. We're here at the Colloquium Blaster, and we just got done playing Super Hack, the game of...
Super Hacker Override.
The game of cybering computer stuff. Join us for Super Hack. Brian,
yes.
Very quickly, tell us about Super Hack and how to play.
Super Hacker Override is a 2 to 8 player game which takes about 5 to 25 minutes to play, in which basically the theme is set in the, was it the 1980s, 1990s?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe the 80s.
Yeah, I could see that.
Kind of hacking. And basically the premise of the game is you are trying to score 40 points, 40 victory points. Well, if in a 2-player game, there's a sliding scale of points depending on how many numbers of players that there are, by executing your hacks, which are basically your cards. And you have, and you're also trying not to get caught by the government at the same time, which are like the hacks that are worth a ton of points. Because if you ever have a certain number of those out, depending on the number of players, in a 2-player game, it's if you have four out, then you go to hacker jail. And in a 2-player game, that basically means you lose. Basically, depending on the number of players, you're going to pull out a certain number of cards and set them aside, kind of like at random, so you don't know exactly what's in there. Then you're going to deal out the rest of the deck to all of the players. Now you have these hacks in your hand. To start off, they're all called private hacks, and they're all facing you. When it's your turn, you could basically do one of two things. You can either play a card from your hand, a hack, and then it becomes public, and then what you'll do is you'll execute the effect, and it might be like, you know, you're protected from the other player's cards for a certain turn, or it might say, it might have like an ability on it that protects you from their hacks that have a value of a 2 or 3 or something like that. So there's some like type protection cards. The other thing that you can do is you can execute a hack that's already on the board, or one of your opponents that are on the board as well. And in that case, you're going to pick it back up to your hand, and it becomes a private hack again. Now, when you do this, you're kind of like losing points, or at least taking points off the board, because remember, you got to get to whatever your target number is in a 2-player game. It's that 40 number. So you don't want to necessarily be picking up your own hacks. You want to sometimes be forcing the other player to pick theirs up, but you also get to trigger their ability, what's out there. So basically, you've got those 2 different things that you can do. You can either play a hack from your hand, execute the new ability, and then start scoring points, or you can force your opponent to like pick up their hacks and also use the ability that's on there. Another special ability, I talked about the protection one, is the proxy swaps. And the proxy swaps, there's a couple of different options which you can do, but essentially you can basically swap one of your opponent's hacks that are public out for one of your public hacks. There's a couple of other different options where you're swapping cards at random from like their hand for one of yours and that kind of thing. So it's kind of the strategy. The first one who's just getting to the 40 points is the winner, and you're trying not to end up in hacker jail, so there's a little bit of like pressure luck element in there too, because you don't want to get stuck with like, you know, too many government cards and then end up in hacker jail. But Patrick, what is your favorite thing about Super Hacker Override?
Man, it's got to be this Eon Flux 1990s-esque artwork. It's just really, really cool. They'd spent some time and money to make that look good. It does. It does. It looks very much like some Eon Flux stuff. Maybe some of them even look a little bit like Futurama, but it's between Eon Flux and Futurama. I like it. And there's one thing that you had to pick out that you like the most.
The thing that I like the most about Super Hacker Override is actually you don't even need to be sitting at a table to play it. You can, with your public hacks, you can actually just turn them face out in your hand, which is kind of neat. You know, you could be standing in line at the movies or something like that, or and have this game on the go. So it's kind of a first where you can actually just play while standing. I mean, not even at a table. So I think it's
lay them down.
Yeah. But what would you say is the thing that you liked least about Super Hacker Override?
I think the thing I'm going to say I like the least is there's a lot of this kind of pick up your card, or you take it back into your hand, and it kind of like 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. And it's really a take that mechanic that I don't really like in games, because I feel like it slows the game down a little bit. But I guess that's it. If I had to pick one thing, it's that take that mechanic of pulling the stuff back into your hand. And if there's one thing that you don't like,
the thing that I like the least about Super Hacker Override is actually the rules. Well, they're nice and they basically fit on a 1 to 2 pages. Just the terminology. I'm not really all that familiar with computer hacker terminology. But it, you know, it refers to the cards as kind of like hacks, and then you're doing all these swaps and stuff like that. So I had to read them I had to, you know, read the rules 2 or 3 times to like actually kind of figure out what it was doing, and then I still got to periodically go back. And it might be just a brain fart on my part, but I think some of the words, the language, like
the rules could have been a little bulky because of that, because of the terminology.
But anyways, Super Hacker Override is actually on Kickstarter right now, and I believe it's only like $10, $10 for a pledge. So jump over there and back for your copy.
I'm Patrick. This is Brian. Together we're Just Got Played, coming to you from the Cloak and Blaster. Thank you very much for watching. I definitely learned a lot about cybering.
Cybering?
Some cybering.
Some cybering?
Like what China tried to do to us. They tried to cyber us, or Korea. Somebody tried to cyber us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got cyber.
That's because you got that server in your basement. So.
That's a slave in a gimp suit. This is my basement. It's not a server.
Oh.